Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LV Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. Recovering Beyond the Gates. This is whatever week it is, but it's episodes September 28th, 2025 to October 3rd, 2025. The aftermath of Doug's going away and all that good stuff. And some surprise stuff happened. Kat and Thomas and Eva's stuff went on that we didn't know about. What's up there? The aftermath of Danny and Andre getting married, all that good stuff. We're going to discuss it, and we have a new character that has arrived in Fairmont Crest. So, I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like this video. You can also subscribe and share and leave your comments below. All right, so let's get into these episodes. All right, y'all. Yeah. So, of course, you know, I did skip another week. I apologize. I tried to do everything I could to make it happen, and I couldn't. This week is going to happen, and I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to stay on top of Beyond the Gates reviews. Please still hang with me, though. But we're going to talk about Kat and them, but before we get there, let's talk about some other stuff just to kind of get the pot boiling, because I know a lot of us were boiling and also cheering and then saying, huh? by this week's episodes, well, at least particularly Monday and Tuesday of Kat and Eva. So, of course, Chelsea Kat launch day of their bag. Everything was a success until that heifer, Allison, was able to convince a cop into handing over his phone so that she can call into the chat to start talking with her wifey. Of course, that really rattled Chelsea, but she was able to keep it together, or keep her cool as much as possible, even online. Kat calls Jacob and says what happened, She was able to get a hold of the phone. He didn't know that was happening, Kat said fix it right away. So we know last week, Leslie convinced Eva to switch living spaces. She first said that the place was being sold off, but then told Eva that she bought it, and she's going to give it to Eva. So the daughter of Ted Richardson has to live in a dump that you're trying to get out of, and you're about to live in a mansion. That doesn't make any sense, and Eva, you look foolish for trying to do it. Anyway, so she takes over the hotel room that Ted is paying for. All I know, Ted, you are a fool. You are paying for a hotel room for a woman. You were doing it for your daughter. Now your woman is in there. All that stuff, like you act like you don't want her, is really telling me something different. So anyways, Ted goes to Eva's hotel room, but he is surprised to find Leslie there. Leslie ends up ordering champagne and caviar, thinking she's amongst the rich folk, and now she's able to have all this stuff, and she thinks it's gross because you're out of your element, girl. You are out of your element. Go get you some beans and franks. For all I care, shoot. While there, Leslie is still taunting Ted with the fact that they had sex. Of course, Ted is like, that's never going to happen again. Leslie warns that he's going to see her all the time and thinking about her even more. She suggests that they go on to have sex again, but he says that will never happen again. Yeah, right. Leslie toasts herself and saying that, I think he leaves at this point, toasts herself and saying that she wouldn't be so sure. I said, Lord Jesus. I was really hoping the other week when Ted slept with Leslie that it was that she drugged him. He was in a drunken state, but not. Could his inhibitions be lowered? Yes. But it wasn't in a place where he could not just say no to her. He did say no. She comes to the door and he gives right into her. Do I want to talk about that? We'll wait. And we'll just go on to Chelsea Thomas. First, Thomas is helping Eva move into her apartment. That dump. He's still bothered by what Kat said, that he was bad in bed. Eva says, you know what? You are a snack and a half. And you know it. So then Eva pulls him in for a kiss after listening to advice from her mama last week about, you need to fight for your man and stop letting Kat be the winner and all that. You know that he's better with you. So then she takes that advice and kisses him. She then pulls away and says, well, you're with Kat. Thomas says that they are clearly over. Are you? Has there been a discussion, Thomas, for you to actually say that? So, they end up having sex. After sex, she gives him 5 stars. Okay. Okay. And Thomas ends up getting up to go take a shower. And guess who comes to the door? Kat. Eva was doing her darndest to get Kat up out of there. Kat came to try to make amends, but it was at the prompting of Chelsea telling her to do it in order to make things right with Tomas. So she was like, I'm dropping all my beef, and let's just see if we can start over. She hands her a Chelsea Cat bag as a sign of peace and and she says, who knows? Maybe we will. Where is it? I got it. She says that one day we might get closer and actually find themselves sharing everything. And then walks out Thomas of the bathroom with nothing but a towel and the wetness on his chest. So Kat, who didn't allow Thomas to speak and try to lie, he was saying that he just was helping her move. And she said, cut the crap. And she just says, y'all both are garbage. There's a lot of dialogue, and I really give it up to Kat and Eva. They really are playing these roles really well. Great actresses all together. To Eva, let's pour a little malt liquor out for the homegirls who ain't made it out of Ho Town. Then Eva wants to clap back and accuses Kat of having been a first class, top tier bitch to Thomas since forever. And she says that Thomas scored a 10 when he smashed me. What was it? That's when Kat realized that Thomas went on and told Eva her personal stuff, as far as even what happened when we had sex. I still think it's very low down, and you can see the hurt in Kat's eyes. And as she's leaving, she ends up saying to Eva, she said, I never liked you. I always knew what you were about this whole time. And just really grills into her. She snatches her purse back and storms out. Very good scene. I said, go Kat, go Kat, go. Now, Uno Reverse is about to be played. Let's talk about it. Eva thinks that things are about to go sailing, a smooth sailing between her and Tomas. Tomas ends up saying, I didn't mean to lead you on. He gives her that speech. And then he was like, wait a minute. You mean after everything that she's done and what we did, you still want Kat? Yes. She still begged him to be with her. As Meredith Grey told, what's his name? Dr. Shepard. What was his name on the show? Grey's Anatomy? Lord Jesus. I forgot what his name is. But anyways, Dr. Shepard. Pick me. Choose me. Love me. That's what she was right then and there. Then she realized that she did the same exact thing her mother did with Ted. She never wants to see Thomas again. She kicks him out. And then next thing you know, she breaks down crying and slides down her door. Oh. I don't give a crap. Like, Thomas really stepped over a lot of boundaries. It's like, you're acting like you're just that good person and stopping him. And ma'am, you've wanted to jump his bones. Y'all were going to have sex a few weeks ago before he went on and jumped your sister's bones. You are your mother's daughter. So quit the phony act, as Kat said. Y'all can give me your thoughts about that whole scene. There's another part for them, I think. Oh yes, Kat goes to Chelsea while Chelsea and Madison are having a moment. She goes to Chelsea to vent. Chelsea's now telling her all the good things to say. Last week was just dumb advice and trying to get back into a guy's good graces, whatever. Chelsea suggests that her cousin forget about that guy. He's a lowlife, he's trash. And move on. But Kat thinks that this is just a rough patch. And that right there made me say, oh my God. But what the actress that plays Kat, she ended up recording when she started reading those lines of this particular scene. Like, Kat is quite crazy. She says that I'm not letting Eva win, ever. So it's a game to her. You rather suck it up with a man that will never respect you. He don't respect your boundaries. He don't really care about your relationship, even though people claim that you don't about your own relationship with him. Give it up, Delish, because that's just so crazy. I hope Kat has a lot of self-respect, gains her self-respect back. And also how the character was written months ago. This was during the fashion show where the men were talking with Tomas about that they were afraid of him. And it was about Kat. It wasn't even about them if he did anything to Kat. It's how Kat really deals with someone after she's been crossed. And they talk about an ex and all that stuff. So it's like, what is going on here? I don't get it. Let's see. Now let's move on to Vanessa. Vanessa has had quite a week up in this mud. But she's with Jacob right now and just questioning Doug's death. Could it by any chance not be an accident? Jacob doesn't see any foul play, and Vanessa ends up blaming herself. Randy goes and visits Joey, and he ends up paying Joey double back what he stole back when he was running from Joey. And Joey puts him back on the payroll. Randy also wanted assurance that he wouldn't end up just like Doug. And he assures him he had nothing to do with Doug's untimely welcoming home to heaven. So as far as him paying back Joey, he says, if I'm already on the highway to hell, might as well hitch my wagon to the devil. To the devil I know. Joey calls Marcel and tells him that Randy is back. And Marcel's like, are you sure? What is going to happen? He says he's not at all worried about a worst case scenario. Joey says that he can arrange another accident. Hearing his name called, Joey, he turns around and sees that it's Vanessa. Vanessa didn't hear him. She's in the doorway, but she ends up telling Joey as she comes in that she still needs answers. Joey tries to alleviate her guilt by saying Doug was an addict who made bad choices. Joey was convincing her that she should focus on her children and Doug's life celebration of life. Bill stops by Joey's and says that he's not buying Joey's remorse. And Joey, Bill, shut up. It's because of you that Joey even did what he did. You snitched on Doug. And then now want to act like you want to be the vindicator of Doug. Shut up. You are a weak man. Joey says that his alibis and excuses to keep him from being implicated. He's got it all. So you're barking up the wrong tree if you're trying to ask me if I did something to Doug. Joey assures Bill that Doug's warning didn't sign his death warrant. Okay. Meanwhile, Vanessa looks like she's in shock as she wipes her tears and calls Nicole. Nicole was able to encourage her to get on with making some funeral options. As Nicole plans to join Vanessa shortly. Before Nicole can come back, Donnell, who is Vanessa and Doug's son. This is one of the twins. The girl twin is not here yet. And everybody's like, well, why wouldn't he come? Why wouldn't she come? I mean, on Days of Our Lives, I think Sammy was in town since 1993, and Eric did not show up until 1997. And he missed the funeral because Roman was gone at the beginning, like May, June of that year, but he turned up alive later on. So anyways, where is it? Lord, I lost my place, sorry. Yeah, Donnell arrives, and he's there for his mom, and also wanting answers about his dad. Donnell has to push Vanessa to tell him about Doug's gambling problem. And he says, you should have told me. Maybe I could have found a way to get through to him. That's interesting, that your wife don't even do it, but this child thinks that he has influence over his father. He does go to the hospital and sees what's up going on over there. They've already taken stuff out of Doug's room, office. And they're like, how can they do that? You just passed away and you're already just disrespecting my dad and replacing him with someone else? Shanice had to break it down, stating that it's not because Doug has been gone for a while. He quit a long time ago, and you need to talk to someone else in regards to what's going on. Donnell runs to the casino, and he sees Randy, and there's a touching moment between Randy and Donnell. He's kind of taking on the surrogate dad position. They have a moment of remembrance of Doug. Randy does admit that Doug was at the casino the night that he went bye-bye. Joey shows up and And Donnell tells him that you're the one responsible for my father's passing. Donnell tells Joey that the McBride family is planning to sue him, the bartender, and the casino for overserving Doug the night of his passing. Joey arranges for Donnell to confront the bartender dealer who is giving him all of this alcohol. Donnell notices Doug's watch on this dude's wrist. The dealer confesses that Doug lost it during the game that they were playing. Joey ends up firing the dealer on the spot to win points with Donnell. He ends up texting Vanessa to come get her son. Joey shows his charming side to Donnell. Vanessa arrives. Don says that he will never have his first drink with his dad. Joey pours Don and Vanessa a drink and toasts to Doug's memory. Sorry. Don wants to know what is Joey and Vanessa's connection. Business partners. But obviously, there's more going on. How could my dad be someone that I did not even know? Vanessa says, despite his addiction, it doesn't change who he was and the way that he loved him. As far as, the picture that you have, hang on to that, basically. They leave, and then Joey calls the bartender dealer and thanks him for playing along and promising to pay him his usual. And then he tells the bartender Don won't ever piece together what really happened. Hopefully, but this is a soap, so we shall see. At Orphans, Naomi and June. Naomi goes and picks up her rings from June, who found them. And as they're talking or whatever, June brings up the topic that she's never really been in love. And then she shares that she met a guy that was a Morris Chestnut type. Jacob is there, and both of them help June to try to flirt with this dude. Then they find out it's actually Ted, is whom she's talking about. They encourage her to find someone else, but they don't tell her that Ted is Tyrell and Samantha's grandfather, which I don't understand why you didn't. But anyways, Andre and Ted, they go to the country club just to have drinks and shoot the ish. They end up spotting Nicole is out to dinner with Carlton. Ted goes over there to confront them. Nicole is pissed that he's even over by her, like, worry about your own life, don't come over here. Ted leaves and goes over into his corner, and then he spots a kiss between Carlton and Nicole. So it looks like things are heating up, y'all. So are y'all for this whole Nicole and Carlton thing? It seems like they've been setting it up since like March, April. So it's quite interesting to see how things are going. But Ted, you didn't really put up no fight. So, oh well. I thought you were going to be a couple to root for, but right now there's nothing to root for. Smitty and Martin, they have a nice dinner. Everything seems to be going good until Martin drops a bomb. He says that he's moving out because he cannot continue sleeping on the couch. Martin says that I can't occupy only a tiny corner of your world. We were never perfect, but our love for each other was, and I'll be back if we find that again. Basically, Martin's taking back his power a little bit. Like, look, I understand you're upset and you've done all this and you've been punishing me in this way of not having me in your bedroom outside of the sex that we did have. But no, I don't want to live like that. So basically right now, if you want me, come get me. I'm not going to be here chasing you any longer. How do y'all like that? Do y'all think that Martin really has any room to try to request anything of Smitty? Or is this just a way for Martin to take his power back and to get Smitty to finally see that we belong together? Is that what's going on? Y'all let me know. Anita and Nicole, this is like the next day or so. She visits with Nicole and they start to gossip and discuss Danny and Doug's accident. I don't remember who said it, but at least Danny could correct her own drunken mistake. I think this was Anita. And to get this marriage annulled. Nicole breaks it to her mom saying that they are still married. And of course that pisses off Anita and says absolutely not. Meanwhile, on the other side of Fairmont Crest, Danny and Andre are cuddling. During that time, Danny tries to text Chelsea. She's not answering her whatsoever. They end up trying to have sex, but then Anita bursts in. And she wants to know from Danny why she has not kicked Andre to the curb. She excuses Andre out and they have a discussion about all of this. But Anita's anger quickly turns into concern, thinking that Danny has a drinking problem. Danny says, I don't have a drinking problem. I have an addiction to Bill. And says that if she had not latched on to Andre, she would have attacked Bill again. And Anita was like, so find a 12-step program for her Bill addiction. So now it's whack Andre day. Andre goes over to Nicole to rant on why Nicole actually told Anita what was going on. And basically she's like, was it a secret? They are worried about Danny's drinking. I mean, she made an impulsive decision and a reckless decision while she was drunk. Good point. Are you just marrying Danny on the rebound because of the whole situation with Ashley? He says, it hurt, but why is his family so anti-marriage for him and Danny? Andre's theory is that Nicole wants to be the stable one and her getting divorced while Danny marriage messes up her role in the family. That was an interesting take. I don't know. I don't think that Nicole really wants to be the good one and then make the world see that Danny is the bad one. I don't know. But y'all can chime in on that. At Bill's office, Caroline waltzes in there with the marriage certificate or marriage license from Danny and Andre that Bill requested. Haley is pissed, and she thinks that he's falling back in love with Danny when Chelsea was kidnapped. She really thinks that Bill is obsessed with Danny. Bill gets back to the office and is talking with Caroline, while Haley is having her own remarks of a lot of digs. Bill is ignoring them and all that good stuff. I think Caroline, once Caroline leaves, then that's when Haley takes no prisoners, and she goes in on him for being any way concerned about what Danny got going on. Bill says that his concern is Andre, and that he did it for financial gain. He wants to steal the fortune and keep it for his daughters. Haley calls BS and says that he's obsessed with Danny, and then she storms out. I honestly don't care. I'm glad that Haley's having a bad day. And realizing that she thought she was hitting a lick along with this man to help her with some type of parent issues. You're crazy. So, poor Haley. You're getting exactly what you deserve. Danny drops by Bill's office to try to figure out how to sever their connection before their marriages are ruined. They're thinking like boundaries, and then he starts giving insults, and she gives them back to him. And then next thing you know, passion is erupted, and Bill leaves in to kiss, and they have a passionate kiss. Is this it? Yeah. We'll take a little break from them, and we'll go on to Shanice. Shanice and Ashley are at the hospital. We'll talk about Derek and Ashley all in the same breath. Shanice was acting all nice and stuff while Ashley was there. Once Ashley walked away with Derek, she was scolding Derek that you need to tell your fiance the truth. He says that he wants to give her a wedding miracle, meaning he's going to stand up during the wedding. Shanice says that there's nothing possible about faking, or positive, I think that's what I was supposed to say, faking a phony miracle. Shanice ends up calling him out on not wanting to lose Ashley to Andre. Once Derek finds out that Andre is safely married, he now is considering telling Ashley the truth. Andre and Ashley, they talk, and of course, they're both sharing their equal, displeasure in both of them moving on. Ashley points out all the flaws in the marriage. Andre says, weird or not, their marriage is real. Derek rolls out of his room and sees them together and rolls on out to them and still continues to lie. So obviously he's not ready to give it up because he's so insecure about his relationship. Ashley and Derek later on in the week, they try to have sex. It wasn't great, but Ashley has a backup plan. So it looks like they're going to be doing a lot more other things. We'll just say another. Bill and Danny says that kiss was no more than Bill's way of trying to retain ownership of her. Bill says Andre is not worthy of a fully actualized creation such as herself. Danny won't let Bill trash Andre. Bill offers a heartfelt apology for having hurt her that ended up propelling her into a quickie marriage. Danny said, you never gave me what I deserved. And when you get less, you start to take less and you think that you're worth less. Bill says that Andre is a seat filler. Danny says, I was always open to adopt another child, but you didn't have to marry one. They agree to stop talking about each other's marriages and says, let's forget. He wants to forget the kiss ever happened. And Danny said, you couldn't if you tried, before exiting the building or his office. Let's see, Naomi and Andre. Now it's Naomi's time to grill after Anita, after Nicole, and now it's her turn. Naomi asks Andre, what if Ashley becomes available? Every argument that Naomi was bringing up makes Andre counter successfully. He even said that he'll sign a post-nup upon Naomi's request. Andre says that I married a woman who is all the good parts of a movie. Life is going to life, so you better enjoy the good parts of that life. Naomi then warns him, if you hurt her, he will have to deal with her. She says that she's vindictive, ruthless, and ferocious. And then says, welcome to the family. So Naomi's at home. Jacob arrives. She's in her PJs. And she ends up telling Jacob that she's pregnant. So it looks like we're about to be uncles and aunts around here. And cousins, whichever one you prefer. We'll get to them in just a minute. On the other side of town, Haley thinks that she could have been pregnant again, but finds out that she was just late on her period. Bill is disappointed, but soon starts wanting to have sex with Haley. They start making out on the couch, but he tears away from her because all of these images of Danny are flashing in his subconscious. He says that it's business that's pulling him away, and Haley calls BS. He was saying this about this report, this, that. Like, no. She says that she's tired of fighting for a space in Bill's head. He then picks up Haley very barbarically, like, me, Jane, you, George, and we're about to have all this sex. They go to the bedroom, and he cannot perform. At this point, Haley is suggesting that he goes to a doctor to get some ED medication. Bill is offended, and he leaves and walks out. He goes for a walk, comes back, and tells Haley that, look, Danny is Andre's problem. Trying to reassure her again on what she really knows and what's going on. But you lose them and how you got them. And now your karma has knocked and opened up that door. Danny and Andre, they have a serious talk. She says her house is a Bill Hamilton free zone. We won't be talking about him. She talks about Ashley being unseasoned chicken, and they lay some ground rules in this marriage. They can be non-monogamous. If one starts to catch feelings, they need to tell each other. So we're really back to just friends with benefits. It's just you went on and put a marriage certificate behind it. Things that have to happen is massages from Andre and 3 orgasms Andre's got to give her. What about me moving in here? She's like, I'm not with it. I'd rather us live apart. I already live with the man, whatever. He says, can I at least have a drawer? And she says, okay, we can do that. After Naomi shares about her being pregnant, Jacob is very excited and he's already planning the children's colleges on where they're going. But basically he was like, look, we're about to have a baby and they need to move to a better place. And then Naomi has to drop whatever nugget that needs to be dropped or bomb. She says, Jacob, I don't want to have children. I'm a lawyer and I don't want to lose my identity. I see my mom do that. She was top choice in black culture. She was the it girl and she gave it all up to have my children. And she doesn't want to end up that way. Jacob's trying to reassure her and all that. You can rise to the challenges because she's like, what if? He's like, we got this, baby. But she says, at the end of the day, I don't want to have children. So, does anyone see this as some type of setup for the baby that Naomi's carrying to be Haley's eventually? Y'all let me know what y'all think. But that was the end of the episode, y'all. I was entertained. Kat, you my girl. I'm rooting for you, but I want to just shake you. Like Claire Huxtable said to one of her daughters that she wanted to do. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on these storylines for this week. What are your predictions? It looks like we finally know who the star that our girl Michelle Valjean, the creator, says is supposed to be joining the show. We've seen some pictures of Greg Vaughn. Formerly of Days of Our Lives, he played Eric Brady. Formerly of General Hospital, he played Lucky Spencer, the adult version. And I think that from Greg Vaughn's performance. It don't matter how many times they try to bring in Jonathan. If you watch General Hospital, it don't work. Lucky has grown. Greg has grown Lucky up, and Lucky's still stuck back into the 90s. They thought that they were going to get some magic back, but it's never worked. It's not working, and it don't work. It didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. Jonathan Jackson's already gone again. So tell me how excited you are about possibly Greg Vaughn joining the cast. Who do you want him with? Pamela? Or maybe some type of, let's have some interracial stuff going on, because Greg is a hottie. Maybe a Nicole thing. Someone suggested that, even though she's going after Carlton. There's a lot of possibilities, and hopefully they stick with Greg, because I think that General Hospital and Days of Our Lives have done him dirty over the years. That's my opinions. But let me know how you feel. Like this video. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Subscribe. And until the next one, peace.